King Harris responded to 50 Cent's Instagram post of T.I.'s wife in the most offensive manner imaginable. He instructed him to go dig up his mother's grave after posting a picture of it.
So tell your dead mama dig her ass up and post a picture that look better than my mama. What's wrong with you?
We are all aware that 50 will never tolerate that. Things are quickly becoming heated as he now attacks King Harris for that grave post. Let's dissect it. It all began with this post. Cent took to Instagram on February 22nd, 2026 to share a photo of Tamika "Tiny" Harris on stage. The picture was exposed. The angle was incorrect. She was being harmed by the lighting. Additionally, it appeared as though the entire situation was designed to harm her reputation. And he chose it precisely because he knew 50 Cent. He didn't dump it on stories, where it would disappear the next day. Instead, he placed it permanently on his main feed for everyone to view and comment on whenever they wanted. I keep saying, "Keep my name out of your mouth, okay?" The caption said. No essay, no additional discussion, no tags. Just those words and a flick. That was a shot at T.I., as everyone and their mother knew.
Responded by disrespecting T.I.'s family, more specifically T.I.'s wife, Tiny. 50 took to Instagram and posted a not so flattering photo of T.I.'s wife, Tiny.
But here's the deal. 50 Cent had not been harmed in any way by Tiny. She didn't mention his name on any podcast. She wasn't in any of the remarks directed at him. She had no involvement whatsoever in the back and forth. Simply put, 50 was using her reputation as leverage to attack her husband because T.I. continued to mention the Verzuz.
And she looks like, in a bad angle, and her body looks a little off. It's like a bad angled photo.
Let's be clear about Tiny Harris's identity now. She is more than just T.I.'s spouse. She has been in the industry for more than 30 years and was a founding member of Xscape, a group that was influencing R&B in the 1990s with songs like Just Kickin' It and Who Can I Run To? To be nasty, 50 Cent turned all she had, her own luggage, her history, and her own TV shows, into a terrible photo opportunity.
50, he posts a picture of Tiny, and he says, "I keep saying keep my name out your mouth," and puts up like a shrug emoji and says, "Okay."
And the final shrug emoji? That was the icing on the cake. As if it were any other Tuesday, he used the emoji. For example, blasting another man's wife to 30 million followers was easy and something he could do while he slept. But within hours, T.I.'s oldest kid discovered that post, setting off a fire that lasted for a very long time. Furthermore, King Harris, who was only 21 at the time, didn't reply with a subtle caption or a smart meme. He took it directly to the core. Just beneath 50's post, King posted a comment. Brief and to the point. "Where are you, mommy?" Using the emoji of eyes. You already understand why the comment struck a different chord if you are familiar with 50 Cent's past. Since 1983, 50's mother has passed away. When he was 8 years old, she was slain. And King Harris simply posted that to Front Street so that everyone could see it in the comments. Then he went one step beyond. He immediately shared a picture of 50 Cent's mother's grave, Sabrina Jackson's real gravestone, on his personal Instagram. Her name was etched on the stone. 1958 was the year of birth. 1983 was the year of death. F your and dig up your mama, King wrote, directly tagging 50 Cent. "This where your mama at?" read another version of the same description. He then put on his whip, pressed record, and launched into a tirade that spanned many Instagram stories.
I want to say something about my mama. Your mama dead as Your mama dead as
He was leaving. Anger that comes directly from the heart, without any filter or script.
Go dig her up. Go dig her up. Post a picture of your mama. She dead. Pay respect.
He kept his foot on the gas as he told story after story. With the comment, "E50 Cent, this is where your mama at." He returned to that headstone photo and reposted it.
Post my mama like your mama ain't dead as Go put some flowers on that grave.
They drew the line in the sand. Tiny was posted by 50. After posting the grave of 50's deceased mother, King instructed a man who had lost his mother when he was 8 years old to go dig her up.
Man, posting my mama, legend, your mama, Jay.
This evolved from online trolling to some of the most obscene, intimate, and underhanded disdain hip-hop has witnessed in a short period of time. The crazy thing is that the entire reason this all started stems from a Verzuz battle that was meant to be about honoring music. Not much more, Nothing less. The Verzoos that was never. This entire feud stems from an alleged chat that took place in Los Angeles between T.I. 50 Cent as well. T.I. claims that when someone mentioned the possibility of a Verzoos, the two of them were out in L.A., slogging it out on TV and movie deals, and hanging out in the same circles. T.I. claimed that after discussing everything in person and deciding how it would go, 50 Cent abandoned him as if the entire exchange had never taken place. T.I. told the entire tale on Gilly the Kid and Wallow 267's $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. He went over the timeline in detail. He said the original vision was clean. Two veterans stepping up to celebrate each other's catalogs. No shadow, no drama. Just respect for the craft, hit albums, and straight bars.
Okay, so first, it was really about celebrating each other's catalog. Me and them talk back there, bro.
T.I. described their experiences, pitching shows, hanging out in a professional environment, and having a great time in Los Angeles.
We were moving around in LA, man, selling some TV shows while we were around each other, man, you know what I mean? I said, what you think about that?
The manner in which T.I., according to 50 Cent, the concept was fantastic. They laid out a strategy. T.I. would call 50 out for the Verzoos and be the first to go public. They would then line up the entire thing after 50 openly co-signed it. Easy. Play. Well executed. That was the plan anyway.
I told him, I said, well, I'm gonna jump out there first, and then you just gonna jump out there and we'll line it up.
Thus, T.I. held up his end. He slipped through Nightcap and openly mentioned 50 Cent in the Verzoos discussion. He expressed that he felt that 50 was avoiding the smoke, and that he wanted it in a Verzoos format.
We're supposed to go, and then goddamn, when I was talking to Swiss, I was like, man.
However, when T.I. 50 Cent left him waiting after jumping out there first, as they had agreed, pretended that there had never been a talk.
I said I wanted 50, that's what I said, he don't want no smoke though.
Played the whole thing off like T.I. was just a stranger who called him out without saying anything first. At that point, T.I. went from being annoyed by a Verzoos to being annoyed by 50 Cent's masculine personality. The entire dynamic changed for T.I. It was no longer about the Verzoos. It has to do with honesty. It's okay if 50 didn't want to fight.
When I jump out there, act like he ain't know what's going on.
Say that and keep it a buck. However, don't agree in private and then change your mind in front of the cameras.
Oh, look, I don't even want to, man. Cause now I question your character.
The sound of its deep incision was audible. T.I. went from wishing to perform with 50 to wanting nothing at all to do with him. Not as partners. Not as peers. Not even as two men who were able to share a room.
I don't think, man, that shit ain't gonna happen. That shit ain't gonna happen, man. I don't want to stand on stage.
The entire scene changed in appearance from 50 Cent's vantage point.
I had no interest in standing on stage with that. I don't respect.
For years, he had been avoiding the Verzoos idea in public. He called Verzoos a platform that only mattered during the pandemic, and made it crystal clear he was on next-level business vibes. TV shows, film projects, brand deals. Since 2014, he hadn't released an album. His primary source of income was no longer music. He had flipped the page on a chapter. He was contemptuous and brimming with that distinctive trolling intensity in his comments to T.I.'s callouts, which were typical of the 50. Throughout Instagram, he continued to post, "Keep my name out of your mouth," along with shrug emojis and brief messages, meant to make T.I. appear as though he was pleading for attention from a completely indifferent person. But things got uglier when 50 Cent started dropping the King Rat tag on T.I., indicating cooperation with law enforcement in Instagram comments, which is one of the worst things you can say to someone in the hood. T.I. refused to accept it. He retaliated right away, saying that only one of them was a real rat, and instructing 50 to either pipe down or walk in the Verzoos ring. By the time February 22nd pulled up, the beef had been bubbling for weeks through podcast appearances, comment section, warfare, and back-and-forth subliminals. The Verzoos, which was meant to commemorate two catalogs, had now given rise to a feud so bitter that it had drawn in relatives who had nothing to do with it.
Sabrina Jackson's tale. You have to know who Sabrina Jackson was and what happened to her in order to truly understand why King Harris's response struck such a different chord, and why almost everyone in hip-hop shuddered when they saw it. This isn't a story about a famous person's mother who died of natural causes and received a lovely funeral with flowers all over the place. This is about a woman who was killed, but the person who did it was never apprehended. Around 1958, Sabrina Jackson was born in Queens. New York City's South Jamaica neighborhood. When she was only 15 years old, she gave birth to Curtis Jackson, who is now known as 50 Cent. She was doing it alone from jump. No companion. Not a coach. Just a teenage girl attempting to figure out how to keep her kid alive and fed in one of the city's worst districts to put food on the table and keep a roof overhead.
My mother passed when I was like 8 years old. I went to live with my grandparents. And she had me when she was 15.
Sabrina got into the drug game in the neighborhood. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, South Jamaica, Queens, was right in the thick of the early crack wave that was tearing through the city. In that zip code, a teenage single mother had few options, so she decided to pursue the hustle because it was what the environment required.
So at that point, she started hustling to be able to provide for me at that point.
Throughout his career, 50 Cent has discussed his mother's parenting style numerous times, and each story presents the same image. She was really resilient. No pleading, no gentle methods. With authority and no room for weakness, she managed that home as if she controlled the entire block. She was both his mother and his father, as he put it. He has related anecdotes about how she made improvised weapons for him to carry to schoolyard scraps by stuffing toys inside socks. This was her method of ensuring her son could compete in those streets. He also related a story about how Sabrina once urged little Curtis to stop acting so soft and get up when he was crying on the floor. Her love language was that she had no other tools to help her raise a boy in that setting. Then in 1983, Sabrina Jackson was killed. She was perhaps 24 or 25 years old. At precisely 8, Curtis Jackson was born.
And she got killed when I was like 8 years old.
So when you say hustling, she was involved with what? She was
selling drugs.
Selling drugs.
Yeah.
In more than 40 years, the case has never been resolved, and the manner of her death is unsettling. 50 Cent has often recounted in interviews dating back to the mid-2000s that someone intentionally turned on the gas after putting something in Sabrina's drink to render her unconscious inside her flat. The carbon monoxide combined with the ensuing fire killed her. Upon arriving and evaluating the site, officers promptly reported it as a suspected homicide. Foul play was evident from the combination of a sedated victim and purposefully tampered gas lines. No one was ever taken into custody. No suspect was ever officially identified. Officially, no motive was ever disclosed. The case sits cold to this day, more than 42 years after it happened. No coroner's findings, no investigative updates, and no public police reports have ever been made public. Every single detail that the public is aware of regarding Sabrina Jackson's passing is from 50 Cent's own words. As an adult reflecting on his early years, 8-year-old Curtis was adopted by his maternal grandparents when Sabrina left. He was nurtured by his grandfather and grandmother Bula Jackson in a little crib in the same South Jamaican area as about 8 other family members. Before Sabrina passed away, his biological father had already dipped out. All he had left were his grandparents, a permanent tribute to the woman who held him down for the first 8 years of his life before she was torn away. 50 Cent got a tattoo on his right forearm that reads Sabrina with the words Ghetto Angel inked alongside it. He has stated in interviews that every time life dealt him a bad hand after losing his mother, the same thought would cross his mind. If my mother was here, it wouldn't be like that. Rockville Cemetery in Lynbrook, Nassau County, New York, is where Sabrina Jackson is interred. That is the exact grave that King Harris found, photographed and uploaded to Instagram for millions of people to gawk at. He instructed 50 Cent to dig up that headstone, which he posted online. Why did King Harris go to such lengths? King Harris is on Clifford King Harris Jr. is his official name, and he is T.I.'s eldest biological son. And Harris, Tiny, because of his parents' fame and the entertainment empire they established around their family. This child, who was born in Atlanta, Georgia, on August 26, 2004, has never spent a day of existence away from the spotlight. There were cameras all around him growing up. He was on T.I. and Tiny, the family hustle, since the 2011 debut of the program. While the reality TV crew was rolling in their living room, he watched his dad's face public heat, complete business deals, catch cases, and negotiate beefs. Additionally, he saw his mother, the anchor of the Harris family and a founding member of Excavate, one of the most aloof R&B groups of the 1990s, receive accolades. King has been pursuing his own musical career, as kids say, in releasing tunes and freestyles that reflect the culture in which he grew up. But the public has always clocked him first and foremost as T.I.'s son, a firstborn boy in a family that moves as a unit, especially when it comes to having Tinny's back.
King, let me ask you a question, man. Do you feel any type of pressure?
You know, they say pressure make diamond.
He has talked candidly about the pressure to live up to T.I.'s name, the expectations placed on him, the incessant comparisons to his father, and the scrutiny that accompanies him everywhere. T.I. he has allegedly admitted to King that he recognizes himself in his son, particularly the version of himself that aired the most. Nevertheless,
You know what I'm saying? I don't fold under pressure, I apply under pressure.
That boy quick on his feet, ain't he?
Yeah, I'm the more, as he was saying, I'm him when he made his most mistake.
King is no longer merely someone's child. He is now a father himself. He has openly discussed his efforts to instill in his son the same traits his own parents instilled in him as a child: independence and tenacity.
I be trying to let my son get his, build his, like, him able to keep his own attention span.
Therefore, King's mother, whom 50 Cent is referred to as a legend on several occasions, had an immediate and heartfelt reaction when he posted that busted photo of Tiny Harris on his account. King didn't pause to consider his approach. He made no call to appeal. Firm, he failed to consider the advantages and disadvantages of going nuclear on social media. He saw a grown man with 30 million followers putting his mama on blast to embarrass her, and something inside him snapped. His reaction wasn't the issue. If a grown man publicly disregarded their mother, how would any son respond? Where the reaction went was the issue. Rather than focusing on 50 Cent's persona responding to criticism of Verzies or even simply venting in the comments, King went to the most gloomy, agonizing, and revered site he could possibly discover. He located the gravestone of 50 Cent's deceased mother and posted it online for everyone to see.
Playing like that, going like that. How y'all raised? I'm not raised like that. I don't go. I'm not going about my mama.
Additionally, such phrase is surrounded by a thick layer of irony. While asking a man to go dig up the remains of his deceased mother, King remarked, "I'm not raised like that." He put himself in a position of moral superiority, while standing in one of the moral abysses that hip-hop etiquette acknowledges, showing disrespect for a deceased parent. King's fury was acknowledged by one YouTuber who documented the incident, but he also foresaw some parental accountability that would occur behind closed doors.
Now T.I.'s son then jumped in the mix. I ain't even mad at him for defending his mom. Now, do I think that this will go to some crazy level of some shit? No.
He continued by saying that T.I., regardless of how justifiable King's wrath was, the cemetery post went too far, and even the Harris family wouldn't normally support it. Tiny would probably draw King aside in private and help him get together now.
Tiny or T.I. is definitely going to check him on that because they not them type of people.
Hip-hop has a long and well-documented track record of family members getting pulled into beefs. On Hit 'Em Up, Tupac revealed to the world that he had an affair with Faith Evans, the wife of the notorious B.I.G. On Super Ugly Jay-Z, went graphic about an affair with Carmen Bryan, Nas's baby mother. The action was so egregious that Jay-Z's own mother contacted Hot 97 and forced him to apologize live. Carmen Bryan has discussed the consequences and the harm it caused herself.
Well, first of all, when Super Ugly came out and we heard it, everybody was like, "You corny."
She discussed how Jay-Z felt bad about releasing that song practically immediately after it was released. His reaction, which was emotional and impulsive and involved targeting someone's family in order to get points in a rap feud, had long-lasting effects on him.
Jay-Z's never been in any of our vehicles. So, you know, that was just him just grasping at things and just trying to, you know, make an instant comeback.
It's difficult to overlook the similarities to King Harris. The natural tendency is to intensify as quickly and harshly as possible when someone's feelings are running high and they believe that their family has been breached. However, the subsequent escalation, the regret, the retaliation, or both almost invariably the initial outrage that precipitated it. In 2001, Jay-Z had to learn that lesson the hard way. It remains to be seen if King Harris will take it in 2026 T.I. When 50 Cent releases a diss single, he laughs, while King Harris's burial images and angry video tirades were still being processed by the internet. T.I. made the decision to write his own play, late on the evening of February 22, 2026, into the early hours of February 23, 2026. Just hours after his son's furious outburst, T.I. made a brand new diss tune in the studio, which he presented as a formal declaration of war. DJ Toomp, the same renowned producer that contributed to some of T.I.'s most well-known hits over the course of his career, provided the beat. Toomp left his mark on songs like What You Know and Bring 'Em Out, as well as a long list of southern trap hits that helped shape a generation of hip-hop. The frightening intensity was still present in this new song, which included dark synth, layered over thundering bass and sharp, militant trap percussion that struck with the acoustic power of a man who was not kidding around at all. T.I. posted a sneak peek of the song directly on his Instagram, captioning it, "Uni*** as want war. We're on that. This time, I had to create one." The duck emoji was a purposeful reference to previous remarks in which T.I. had called 50 Cent a duck, a hood slang term for someone who avoids conflict and hides behind justifications. According to the hashtag this time, T.I. felt as though he had found the ideal object to which to direct his lyrical rage.
T.I. then decided to go on his Instagram page and promote a new track. And this track somewhat sounds like he's dissing 50.
With a duration of approximately 30 to 60 seconds, the sample demonstrated T.I. spitting combative, angry bars and that distinctively Atlanta cadence for which he has been known since the days of trap music. Early reports only included a teaser clip, thus the full lyrics were not fully transcribed. However, the content made clear references to his family's constant disrespect, readiness to fight to the death, and passionate defense. Although he didn't specifically mention 50 Cent in the audio, everyone who heard it was aware of who the target was.
There's no direct names. It might just be a cut off his upcoming album because the album's title is Kill the King.
Some folks in the culture speculated that the track might have already existed as a cut from T.I.'s forthcoming album that he strategically unleashed because the timing was too perfect to waste. Others thought it was an authentic, brand new session that T.I. captured in the heat of the moment on Instagram after witnessing his kid go for battle. Whichever version is accurate, the timing was determined. It is by no means a coincidence that your son released a war-themed record just hours after he uploaded a picture of a deceased woman's headstone to the internet. The response from the hip-hop community was divided. On one side, T.I. was saluted for handling his business the way a real MC is supposed to, through music. A diss track has always been the most revered technique to retaliate in the long history of rap feuds. It transforms all of that unadulterated, unrefined passion into something artistic that endures in the permanent record of the civilization. Kendrick Lamar did it with Meet the Grams, Pusha T did it with the story of Adidas, and now T.I. was taking the initiative with War. However, the opposing viewpoint was even more critical. A sizable portion of commentators viewed the diss track as T.I. in essence. King Harris's work was amplified or co-signed. Instead of intervening to calm things down, instead of acting like a parent, checking on his son in private, and ending the serious disrespect before it got out of hand, T.I. struck the studio and turned the entire circumstance into a musical performance. The visuals were a mess, with the father attacking the microphone and the son hitting the gravestone.
So I think that, you know, that is more of a way for them to check him on the space of like how you carry yourself versus how this carries himself. Now, we all could agree, let's keep it 1,000. That shit 50 did was whack.
It appeared as though the entire Harris camp was engaged in full court press. The beginning of all this chaos was something that almost everyone, regardless of which side they were riding with, agreed upon. 50 Cent drew first blood by posting Tiny. T.I. had maintained the entire music-related discussion for weeks before this point. He discussed hit records, versus, and who had the better catalog. He never once targeted any of the low-hanging fruit that has always been present in every 50 Cent battle, including his family, his reputation on the streets, or his personal life. I appreciate you watching. To view more videos like this one, click on one of the boxes that is currently playing on your screen.